Sometimes there are things that just need to be done, something that you just need to get out of the way. It really comes down to everything is either something that needs to be done just for the sake of getting it off your chest, out of the way, off your mind, or else left behind and move on from it. Well, I keep on thinking about this, so I guess it needs to be done. I have a lawyer friend. This isn't what I am making this video about, but just to preface it, this is interesting to me because I have a friend who's a lawyer and we've had breakfast together a couple of times lately. He's just as suspicious about things going on in the world as I am. The difference is that his lawyer DNA makes it so that even though something may be very apparent on the surface, and it's not like he doesn't recognize that, but it's the lawyer in him that won't commit necessarily to the picture that's being presented. He'll proceed according to what he's seeing, and it's important to have people like that, absolutely. But the reason why it's important is because proof is necessary in order to really move on from something. And even then, people won't accept sometimes what really does just qualify as proof, just right in your face proof. It's like they'll just keep on looking for something else to prove it wrong because, oh no, the world can't be like that, or no, I couldn't be making such a terrible mistake, or you know, no one is that uncaring of other human beings, that sort of thing. But I think that we're in a time right now where operating based on what's presented right in front of us is really important, right? We've got to be acting on things right now and making the best discernments possible and not waiting around for proof because we're about to be overrun by a bunch of bad shit. And it really does have to be stopped. It really needs to be stopped right now. And I know that there are a whole bunch of you out there who are feeling what I'm saying. And then there's a whole bunch of you out there who are afraid of what I'm saying, despite the fact that everything is crumbling around you. And you, if you're one of those people, you have some responsibility in that. Things are crumbling around you because you refuse to see the truth. The government is supposed to serve the people. It's been a long, long time, since that, if ever. But, the founding fathers of the United States, that's the way that they intended it. And of course, over time, human nature being what it is, there are bad actors who infiltrate the ranks, who get involved and bastardize the system and use it for bad instead of good, and gather more and more power at the top in order to essentially dictate things to others under the guise of some kind of freedom. It's limited freedom, while it should be unlimited. Unlimited within the parameters of some basic morality, right? I mean, things like not killing people or stealing or, stuff like that. Things that are easily agreed upon. Also, the states of the United States existed before the United States did. The states got together and decided to form a federal government to demonstrate unity and to have some overseeing entity that was still controlled by the states, that could manage things that had to do with interstate affairs, leaving the states to decide individual types of matters, things that apply to the people, that to certain kinds of choices that there are for people to make that determine how their lives are going to go. Education, for example, would be one of those things. Abortion would be another. Stuff like that. And just as a side note to that, that's all that Donald Trump has said that he wants to do, is just turn that over to the states where it belongs, because it's an extremely controversial issue, and to have a top-down edict that everyone has to follow is always going to be a problem. It's still going to be a problem within each state, but at least you have different options distributed throughout the country rather than one side having it their way in every state. That's basically the choice. And what he is saying that he's going to do is the best choice possible. And you guys who aren't getting that need to get that through your thick fucking skulls. And before you go pegging me as a MAGA guy or whatever, understand this. I don't have a dog in this fight, this left-right, liberal, conservative fight. As far as I'm concerned, it's like it's been said by others, two wings of the same bird. And I'm more of the mind that this whole top-down way of governing is bad news. That said, it does appear, at least, that what Trump is looking to do, and why there's such a big fight over this, and the people who are supporting Trump, they're buying into this 100%, and it may be true, it may not. I can tell you this: back when Obama was running for president, and he was saying enough, all the things that we were tired of, I was right there with him, man. I was tired of it all too, and yet we still got more of the same shit. Even worse shit, actually. Just that was sort of the beginning of me really not trusting the system anymore. So I hear the game that's being talked. We'll see, right? We'll see. And another thing is, I see pictures. There's Trump with Epstein, and some young lady talking about the time that he was at a party or whatever, and that she performed some sexual act on him, and I don't think the man should be let off the hook for that shit. It needs to be looked into. But that being said, there are only certain options available, right? And when I consider, how that man would stand up against other leaders on the global stage, he already has a track record of that, and he does just fine with that. And I don't, when it comes down to it, all of these people that are walking in the halls of power are flawed. They're flawed pretty badly. There's not too many really good folks who make their way, into those kinds of positions. So I keep that in mind too. I got to take the good with the bad. We can sort it out down the line. But at the moment, the kinds of things that Trump is talking about doing, and the cast of characters who he's assembling to get in and pull all the rot out of the system, all of the bloat, inefficiency, waste, stupidity. It looks to me like there's a chance that some of that might get addressed through his administration, and I hope so. But he's not a savior, okay? It's more the direction, I feel, and that even you idiots, who want more chaos and destruction, because that's what you're asking for. All of us, as people, we need to take a good hard look at what state that we're in. All right? If the way that you're managing things right now has you on edge, has you discombobulated, has you getting all emotional and reacting, frenetically. Just, you've seen the videos, you've seen it out there, right? And all I can tell you is that, again, I don't have a side, all right? But I'm looking at what's going on in front of me, and I can see that there are people over here who are calm, accepting, um, happy, all of that, right? That's on the conservative side of the equation. And then, and even more to the point, in the last election, if I heard correctly, first of all, there's more votes cast overall in the election ever than any election period during a pandemic. And even before all of that got it started, you had same thing you're seeing now, massive turnouts for Trump rallies, all kinds of support, right? And then they're having to lure people in to the Democrat side, to Biden, now Kamala. So are we saying that Harris voters, Biden voters, folks on the liberal side of the spectrum just don't go to rallies, that they just are more likely to just sit at home but they still vote? Is that the profile? Because it doesn't make any sense to me for things to be so close and for there to be so little real enthusiasm on one side of the equation. And I know I'm kind of mixing these things together, but I look at the way that these folks are reacting over on the Democratic side to the way things are going right now, and you guys are acting like a bunch of bitches. You're just acting like a bunch of fucking crybabies. If you had gone through all of the crap that the conservative / Trump side of the equation has gone through in the last, 4 years, seen the way that things went in the elections, saw how the January 6th, has been portrayed, all of that stuff, you guys wouldn't even be able to, you wouldn't be able to exist anymore. You would be so out of your minds, so screwed up, you wouldn't even be able to function. For, the ones I'm talking about. All of that crap, all of it, on the liberal side of the equation. It's madness. The kinds of stuff that's being advocated and that's being demonstrated. And anyway, so you're telling me that in the last election, Joe Biden got more votes than any presidential candidate ever in the history of the United States in order to win that election. And Donald Trump got more votes than any sitting president in history. You add it up, it's more votes ever during a pandemic. I'm sorry, man. That's what I'm talking about when I say I'm looking at what's right in front of me. That doesn't make any sense. The amount of public support that you see out there seems overwhelming to me, overwhelmingly obvious. Something ain't right. And that's what I have a problem with. You see, the Democrats put me in this position because they just continue to insist on portraying things in ways that don't add up. And I don't understand, well, I do kinda, but it bothers me that there are so many people who are willing to go along with all of these things just because they feel some kind of threat that actually doesn't even exist. You're just being told that there's a threat. There's no threat. There's no threat coming from the conservative side of the equation. They're actually trying to save you from yourselves. And when it's all said and done, you'll be grateful that we didn't go down that road that you want to go down right now. I promise you. I promise you. And if we do manage to, to not go down that road, there'll be those of you out there who will say, well, we don't know how things would have went. They would have been better because of whatever that, was on the slate on the Democratic side of the equation, on the liberal side of the equation. Well, you can believe that all you want. It just ain't true. And any honest people, if you're being honest with yourself, somewhere down the line you're going to look back, even if you like apply just some critical thinking to the kinds of policies, the kinds of things that have been done right now during the current administration and what it's led to. We can't take any more of that. I'm not a political person. I want less politics. I want less government. We all, in our local communities and branching outward from there, we know more about what we need to do for ourselves than some government in Washington. And we can tell them what we need from them. They don't tell us what we need from them. That's the way it ought to work. Or even better, that the the federal government just gets the hell off of everyone's back and focuses on doing things that they know that are going to be helpful and that don't overstep their own authority, which is being done right and left these days. It's so far gone at this point. We have a lot of backtracking to do, to have things set up in some sort of reasonable way again. Everything from traveling, to the authority of certain agencies over people's own children. I mean, I could just go on. I could go on and on. There's all kinds of stuff that's going on out there that just needs to be stopped and reversed immediately. Can't believe that it ever even got started. That's the thing. And I can't believe that there are people out there who think that the kind of crap that's happening like that is okay. And even if you do think it's okay, it's the kind of thing you should keep to yourself, right? Do it on your own. Do it, in concealment. Don't wave it out in front of everybody's face. There needs to be some common ground that can be agreed upon in the public forum. You don't need to be sticking it out there in front of everybody. But anyway, what I'm seeing right now is overwhelming support for Donald Trump. And I'm seeing people on the liberal side going more and more and more crazy. And it's just a tale of two different kinds of people that I'm seeing here. People on the right have way more reason to be behaving like the people on the left. Way more. And yet the folks on the left are reacting 10 times worse, 100 times worse sometimes. It's like the makeup of these people is just so fragile. They need to just go home and just camp out for a while and get their shit together, Stop losing it out in front of everybody. It's not helping, and it's not a good look either. And what if something really big happens, Like what if we need to gird up our loins and get out there and really have to deal with some real problems? Like the people that in like South Carolina, for example, right? People in the mountains there. I mean, none of you people who I'm talking about, oh my God, or I mean, even something half as bad as that, you wouldn't be able to handle it. And that's what a lot of us are noticing, right? That I had a coach in high school who used to put it this way. He would talk about, like, guys on your team need to be rope holders. That if I'm hanging off a cliff, hanging on a rope, that whoever's holding the other end of that rope, saving me from falling off the cliff is somebody who I know is going to hang on as hard as they can and even have their own self pulled over the cliff trying to save me, if that's what it comes down to, because they're so devoted, to the righteous cause, the calling that's greater than themselves. Rope holders, people who aren't going to give up, people who can handle a tough situation and not go running for the hills and not start whining. There's too many of you out there, and you need to shut up and get out of the way for a while the rest of us clean everything up for you. I'm sorry, it's just the way it is. Just shut the hell up, get out of the way, and we're going to fix things for you. And then you're going to see what an idiot you've been. And I just want to say it one more time to be sure that the real message, the real reason why I'm making this video in the first place, make sure that this message comes across. Look at what's happening right in front of your face. Look at it for what it is. This is not even close. It's not even close. They're going to make it look like it's close. They keep talking about it like it's close. It just goes to show you that we are being hoodwinked. We're being lied to constantly. A picture is being painted that just isn't correct. It's not representative of how things really are. Bottom line for me right now is it looks like that there's two very distinct ways to go here at this fork in the road. I'm still of the mind that we're talking about two wings of the same bird, and I'm not buying in. I'm not buying in, but there is a choice here. At the very least, the people have an opportunity to express which road that they want to go down. And that's really what you need to be looking at. Not the candidates, all right? Not so much even the people who are the candidates, right? And who are the others who are behind them and intertwined with them. What they really represent is a way of thinking, a direction in which one looks. And that direction right now that's on the left is a terrible direction. Again, I'll say it. I mean, I basically probably would have been identified as a liberal vast majority of my adult life. I haven't really even changed my views, but I think now I'm probably a little right of center. Apparently I'm a conservative now, even though I really haven't changed. Because there's some just crazy, mindless, stupid things that are being done and being planned. Look at the border, for Christ's sake. Just look at that. How the hell do you let something like that happen? Unbelievable. And all of you folks who have been sitting around thinking that that's all okay, you're idiots. You don't even know what you're doing to yourself. Does it have to arrive at your doorstep before you get it? Anyway, it just appears that the fork on the road that's going to the right is a far better direction to be going. And again, even if the leaders, supposed the public servants is really what we ought to be calling them, not leaders. We're the leaders. Even if it ends up being bullshit and things don't get done the way that you hoped that they would, or I feel like that they ought to whatever degree possible, at least an expression has been made. At least the people have they put it out there that they see things a certain way and feel a certain way about things. So there's unity there, and there's bond. There's a collective impetus behind it that can be carried forward regardless of who's up there in the halls of power. We got to hang on to that. It's not about Trump or whatever. It's about us and how we feel about things. And it could be that, you know, the Trumpster has bought into those kinds of feelings. And since, you know, a lot of folks need a savior, that they're identifying very strongly with him as a person. Just don't forget that he just represents ideas and ideals. It's the ideas and the ideals that we want. Doesn't matter who's in there. Although, you know, the thing is that if he really is bucking the system the way that it appears to be, and if he really is learning from last time around and bringing in this team of outliers, basically, to whittle things down and make them more efficient, and to you know, pull the tentacles of the government out of everybody's lives, well, that ain't a bad thing. I guess that's it.